You've heard Billie Eilish's song about it, but what actually happened? What was the Halifax explosion? Let's travel back in time to 1917, December 6th, 1917. In just one single moment, an entire city was blown off the map. The Halifax explosion wasn't just an accident. It was the largest man-made blast in history before the atomic bomb. Year 1917. The North Atlantic is cold and unforgiving, but inside the harbor, life bustles. Dozens of ships from around the world are docked here, including two that soon will be on a collision course. One is the SS Mont-Blanc, a French cargo ship built in 1902. It's 143 meters long and has sails as high as a 6-story building. The other is the SS IMO, a Norwegian relief ship built in 1914. It's almost twice as big. Both ships have important jobs. The Mont Blanc is loaded with supplies for Europe. Specifically, it's carrying 2,300 tons of explosives, including TNT and benzene and picric acid. Picric acid, which is so dangerous that if you put it in your mouth, you could explode and kill yourself. The IMO is a relief ship, meaning its job is to help other ships. Right now, it's waiting for a tugboat to help guide it out of the harbor. On board the Mont Blanc, 33-year-old Captain August Grenier looks out across the harbor. He doesn't realize that in 45 minutes, his ship will collide with another. On board the IMO, 25-year-old Captain Michael Hayes watches the shoreline drift by. He also doesn't know that in 45 minutes, he'll crash right into it. It's December 6, 1917, a snowy day in Halifax Harbor. The time is 8:45 a.m. The Mont Blanc needs to pass through the harbor to get to the open sea. But this is a busy time in the harbor. There are lots of ships here and lots of things going on. To make things more complicated, there's a thick fog. You can only see 50 meters in front of you. And to make things even worse, the captain of the Mont Blanc is looking away. He doesn't see the island in front of him until it's too late. His ship crashes straight into it, but the damage seems small. Only the ship's deck catches fire. People start gathering along the shore to watch. No one knows it yet, but they're watching a disaster in slow motion. The captain radios for help and sends out flares, warning other ships to stay away. Some people try to leave, but many stay behind, curious to see what will happen next. On board the Mont Blanc, the crew tries to fight the fire, but it quickly becomes clear that they won't win. Soon, black smoke starts pouring into the air. Everyone watching along the shore coughs and waves their hands in front of their faces. They can't see much, but they can hear explosions as the ship's cargo starts blowing up. There isn't much time left. What happens next will be the stuff of nightmares. The time is now 9:04 a.m. As people watch, horrified, the ship blows up. The Halifax explosion blasts outwards, flattening everything in its path. The shockwave blasts outwards at 1,300 kilometers per hour, destroying buildings, ripping apart ships and throwing people into the air. Glass windows shatter 50 miles away. Even if you were lucky enough to survive the initial blast, you might drown when a giant tsunami wave crashes over the harbor. Anything that floats is pulled towards the epicenter of the explosion. Cars, pieces of buildings, people, anything that isn't anchored to the ground is swept out to sea. At first, everyone thinks the world is ending. People run through the streets screaming and crying. Others drop to their knees and pray. Miraculously, some people survived. They stumbled through the streets of Halifax, coughing and covered in debris. They look around and realize that most of the city is gone. Entire neighborhoods are flattened. Buildings are smashed and destroyed. Ships are turned upside down. Fire spreads through the city, fueled by falling debris and ruptured gas lines. Survivors pull people out of the rubble and tend to their wounds. It's clear that thousands of people have been killed. Rescue workers and doctors hurry to the scene, but they don't know how many people need help. Soon, more and more survivors come out of the rubble. Many have terrible burns or missing limbs. The blast was so powerful that it caused third-degree burns on anyone who was close by. At hospitals, doctors struggle to find bandages and medicine. In some places, they use dishcloths and pillowcases instead. For many people, it won't be enough. Within a week, 2,000 people are dead. Over 9,000 people are injured. It's one of the deadliest disasters in Canadian history. For weeks after the explosion, the city struggles to recover. Survivors sleep in mass care centers or with relatives. Doctors struggle to treat the wounded. And the whole city wonders what went wrong. How did a small fire turn into the biggest human-made explosion before the atomic bomb? In the days after the disaster, investigators search the wreckage for answers. What they find is shocking. The Mont-Blanc wasn't supposed to be carrying explosives. Sure, it was carrying some, but not nearly as much as it actually had. The ship was supposed to be clearly marked with a yellow flag to warn other ships that it was carrying dangerous cargo, but the flag had fallen. This meant that the IMO didn't know that the Mont-Blanc was full of explosives. If they had known, they would have steered clear, and the collision wouldn't have been so disastrous. But the real reason for the explosion was much simpler. The ships just didn't communicate well enough. After the investigation is over, people wonder why the tragedy had to happen. Why couldn't the ships avoid each other? Well, it comes down to a few simple mistakes. The Mont-Blanc had taken a longer route through the harbor, which put it in the path of the IMO. The IMO's tugboat was running late, which made it harder to navigate. And finally, the Mont-Blanc hadn't lit its warning flares soon enough. Each of these decisions led to the other, like dominoes, until finally, boom, the ships collided. The Halifax explosion is considered the deadliest human-made explosion before the atomic bomb. 2,000 people are killed, over 9,000 injured, whole neighborhoods are wiped off the map. Looking around, it seems like a miracle that anyone survived. But people do, and they rebuild. Every year, on December 6th, the city remembers those who died and honors those who survived. The Halifax explosion was the deadliest man-made explosion in history before the atomic bomb. That's why it's so important to learn about it. Sometimes the deadliest weapon isn't war, but a single mistake, like this Belgian man who shot Hitler, but failed because his gun wasn't loaded. Or this German general who accidentally started World War II by sending his troops into Belgium a day early. Or this soldier who accidentally launched America's deadliest airstrike. Sometimes all it takes to change history is one tiny mistake. I'm the host. Thank you so much for watching.